Okay, so I got my switch in. Listen, it's not easy. It's like you have to push the pedal in to get a grip of it. And this is here. Those are my wires that I made. Where am I? So yeah, this is my plug now, and it's going to go up and around to the fuse box, no problem, and does what it'll do what it needs to do. And ultimately, when you see before, the whole cluster was moving when I was pushing up on it with the black plastic thing, but now that I made the other thing, it's not going to be an issue. And this is good. Now I got to tighten all this up and get, like I said, I have a problem with the steering box. I got to get an AC unit. I got a radio coming. I got a few things that are going to seemingly progress here and be pretty good, and real happy so far. So I've done a lot of wiring. I know it looks like all the same shit. But anyway, so right now the door is open. As you can see, you can only see my phone light. So dome light is on, and there's a kick panel light is on. Ultimately, these lights under here, these little green guys, they are going to be lit up with these on the delay, because I have searched far and wide for a delay, and then I got this guy here, which I have 11.1 seconds. It's not going to steal that much juice. It's just going to have to deal with it, because the one that I bought that was supposed to have supposed to have a sleep mode where the screen goes out, it's not really for this car. It's not really a good one. And it's made by the same company and everything, but the other one supposedly supersedes it, but I can't get a streamline use out of it. Whereas right now, as you can see, it still says 11.1. And what happens is when I close the door, it starts counting down, which is perfect. The other one, it would just keep rolling and rolling and rolling, and then it would always stop. And when I got it to work, I can only get it to work when I delay the after. So the light shuts off for like a millisecond and then comes back on. Can you imagine having the door closed? Not closed, but open, and the light would just be on, and then it would, after 11 seconds, flash, flash, flash. It's kind of ridiculous, Couldn't get it to work. So right now I don't have final wiring with this thing hooked up. I have it kind of put in there, but I'm using, sorry, I hit the button. So I'm using all these connections inside the light switch, because everything was not being used in this setup here. The original, the car's original stuff here. So I basically, you see these two orange guys right here. I put each of the little opera lights on that. Okay. So basically these green lights and this light, the two lights on either side, they're going to be powered. They're going to turn on with power, as opposed to the dome light is turning on by ground. And the reason why I really couldn't get it to delay is because I would have had to put it on the positive, which is going to affect the rear. Then the rear is not going to work, and I'd have to find the wire and somehow. It's really hard to divide it, because it's always going to be jumped on, even with these resistors that I have. That, in fact, the resistor I put on the switch there, because I wanted to not have this stuff come on. Now, this stuff is going to come on with the dome light when you open the door. As you can see, everything is on with one door open. So basically, just to show you, get to the point here. That didn't work out. What did I do wrong? Did the orange wire fall off? Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen. So I have this hooked up to the door when this does this. Oh, but wait a minute. I have a mistake here. I'm supposed to power. Okay. Hang on a second. Okay, so I didn't look stupid. I try to do something else. So basically, I have this jump. This is when I open the regular door pin switch, I have the door pin switch independently turning on another relay that is power, because you can't trigger that thing with a ground. You can only trigger it with a positive. So now I had this. I said, okay, I'll just use it to power the two lights here when the door opens. But the problem is that when you close it, you kill it. So then there's no delay. So I had to put all the wires, and basically I have this orange wire that has the power coming from that thing that's on delay right now. And I have it jumped on this side, and I have it jumped on that side. And I don't know why. I have it in the back of my head. That's what I have to do. I'm assuming now I may not need to do it, but the problem was, and it makes it a moot point, everything I'm doing here, because it's going to be wrong. But I shut it off. You heard the click. And after 11 seconds, after it counts down, so that goes out. This light over here goes out. It doesn't look like it goes in the sun. Now, that's back on. But what I have to figure out, because what I want, when I turn this this light switch, which I got to find the handle because it's a pain in the ass to turn it, I don't want to backfeed, I think, these lights. It's either that or it's not a big deal if I turn on the thing that they come on. But I kind of didn't want that to, So that means I got to put this resistor actually in the line of this wire that goes to the green lights. Now, the other thing is, when I put the headlights on, I want the green lights to turn on with the regular lights, but not these lights. So that's the other thing I'm doing, and I'm going to test that now and then show you. Even though on paper I did this and, on the floor, it's not the same as when you do it live. And I have a resistor in here, and I'm pretty sure that that resistor does what I was, planning on doing. That's why it's like, why do I have that? It's not even necessary. But for some reason, it was still happening. I don't know if I have that resistor in backwards. It's a possibility. But something's weird, and I got to figure it out. Well, I'm a bonehead because I made this, and I think it's so close to the thing there. I just felt that I should have all these things here, but I had this set up all over here. And I'm not sure now if I want to do it like this, because now after I cut those wires, I got to extend them. Ultimately, everything could be just pulled down, I'd almost rather cut the wire up here and then extend it to go down there. So I'm going to see how this works out, because this was supposedly doing everything. I'm going to test everything. Well, I just had this jumped, and I should have left it jumped, but pretty much figured everything out. I started buttoning up some wires, and the only thing that was weird was I don't have those two wires, so like I was jumping them, and then I realized that I jumped the power, but I didn't give an extra ground. Let's see. All right. So now the only quirk is, that's funny. Now it's bright. I think it was searching for a ground. I didn't have that power hooked up. It just flew off. All right, counting down. Oh, I didn't have the thing. That's why it's like it gets double bright when you. It was, but I didn't have that power hooked up, so it was kind of weird. Okay, so it turns off, and then when you click it to even if you turn off the dome light, it stays on for 20 seconds. The only way I would I'd have to take out that wire again and then put a resistor on it, so that when you put that on, it bypasses the thing. But I don't think it's that terrible. And again, when you turn this on, it's only turning on the two lights here and the green lights, which if it's at night, these are all on anyway. This is still loose, this whole thing. I have my light on, but come on, turn off. All right. 10 seconds seems like an eternity. I'm going to try to film without the thing, and then like I said, I had to put the ground on because the little gizmo that goes down from 12 volt to 6 volt, actually it's adjustable, so I made it 8.1 volts because that was the best voltage for the dashboard to be seen. Now I can test that. Okay, it's like twilight. It's like 8 o'clock, close to it. I turn this on. You really can't tell. It's still too bright out. That's the thing. It's like it really shines. But you know what? You can almost see the ghost green there, you know? That's why I picked green for these lights. This is fully bright now. But if I just dim them, all you need is a little bit just to be able to see. Because that's why I went with green. Because this almost... I think you can see it better on camera than you can in real life. The only thing is, like, when I go like this, you can see the purple from the... which... right there. Right above the E, or is it the C? Cold. You can see the black light going through, but the effect is a glowing green, but pretty cool. So I got the green going here, and it's kind of green up there. The closest it's going to get. So I have the little light here that lights up these two, and it's much brighter on camera, actually, even though I dimmed it. Like, this is like almost nothing, but you can see it on camera. That's crazy. But, and this is all the way bright, which looks ridiculous on camera. It really looks ridiculous, but it really doesn't seem terribly bright. I just realized that this guy is a little off, but I had a hard time drilling these things, but you can't even tell like this, but I could see the bulbs more, and then that last one, not as much. Oop. So when you dim it, though, yeah, it's like these are actually more out in the open. I just knocked off the ground on my makeshift battery and the makeshift everything. And that clicking noise is the steering box, the steering module, which I'm not even quite sure it's supposed to sound like that. I just realized that this light, I remember drilling one of them out, but I actually like this one better in a certain sense. But as long as it gives you a place so you can see, like you can see when you put the key in over here when that comes, you know. But I've been hang on. So now I got my light on. Of course, you won't see nothing. Shut that off. So that's going to all turn on. And I realized that I still had to power the shift solenoid. That was the whole point of locking it in, because I didn't want it to be on all the time. So this is on the same delay wire, so that's going to power that. And then when the key is on, it's going to take over from there. I'm not quite sure if I'll do the key on to just shut off the negative on it or something. I mean, if I put it in, if I put the negative on these two small wires here, I guess it's fine. If I put the wires on the two small wires there, what'll end up happening is the ground won't work when you put it in gear. So now it won't turn on if you put it in gear. And, you know, if you do it like that with the neutral safety switch in general, because this is the starter wire, and I'm not putting full power. I'm running a relay through it, so it's nothing. But I put, just to divert it off the starter switch and everything, I'm going to, oh, Jesus, I'm not even showing you. These are the starter wires, and then these are the reverse wires. And this is a wire that I wasn't even going to use, but then I figured I'd incorporate it with the solenoid, because I'll just use it for the ground, you know, and that way power will come in with the key on, and that'll be achieved by some fashion. Yeah, that's right. This is going to come from the regular ignition switch. One of these two wires will do that. The other wire will be for a radio. That way you can put an accessory. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to put this on a key or not a key. Probably not a key. That way that can be full. And there's going to be another one down here anyway. So, and then I can use the same power coming from something here. And then maybe not. I may have to run a new wire. I can't remember. But yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. So I pretty much buttoned up this stuff. I can do the ignition switch. I ran a brake wire into that relay over there. So that relay is all hooked up. This gives power when you open the door. And this will be, I'm sorry, wait a minute, this is the power. There's a wire that's got to have power though here. Wait a minute. I got the red. I got it only coming in with the red? Gee. I'm wondering if I effed up. Yeah, that has power all the time, but it really doesn't. What did I do? No, that would have power with the key on. I'm thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, that was supposed to be... Okay, so this... this is interesting. Because I incorporated a thing here with that, but that doesn't give me power with the key on. It's like technically this was supposed to be power with the key on, supplying the power, but I made the power supply from the gizmo over here. And I'm wondering now if I should have done it differently. That would suck. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be able to run the gizmo there. That is power in. So if I put a key on power, I would have to block it from... Oh, Jesus. Because the whole point of this is to shut off power from the brake. You put the brake here, because this is just going through. And it only receives the power that's on the other side of that. I'm a little confused right now. Staring at it. And I'm like, wait a minute. What happened to my original plan? Everything's so different when you put it in the car and fuck with it. That really sucks. Damn. Because I just realized, truthfully, this could be independent. Oh no, it could give power too. It gives power when the key is off. If I put power in the same place ahead of all this, that means I'd have to take this out and extend it or something like that. Gee, I wasn't counting on that, but I just realized that I kind of made a mistake. Because I want to put power with the key on. I'm just not sure if I put power with the key on this one, will it be the same thing as having everything on? I don't think so. Because the main thing is you want the connection here, the power that comes through this. Because now I just extended the power here. I'm like, 'cause I don't have the... I'm like, I'd have to put both? Because this is the power. And then when you hit the brake, which is not quite hooked up yet, this is the one would have power, but it has G. Yeah, so that's why. See, in the last minute, I fucking added this orange wire here because I needed something that was on the delay. When in reality, because it's all hooked up to the same place, this would have a delay as well. So, and then I got the blue one that fell off over here. Okay, so I fucked up. So this one should have the same amount of delay as that orange one. The thing is, it can be broken by and it doesn't. Why is that? It should be power going through, unless I have it on the wrong end of the thing. Is the clamp on for the... Oh, it does not look like it. I can't even fucking see. Hang on. Where's the clamp for this stupid thing? Oh, right there. Hang on. It's getting darker, so maybe my my test for the dashboard lights will... So, oh, something came off. That's on. That's on. Why isn't the gizmo's on? What happened to the power? I didn't blow any fuses. What is going on here? Why is this light off? That's beyond me. The fuck did I touch? No. Dome light is on. Ground is on. Power's on there. Am I actually hitting power? Oh, that's what. No. Why aren't the lights going on? That's my belief. I didn't know how to light the arm before. I think it was searching for the ground. It didn't have the ground on. What the hell is that? Oh, wait a minute. It's triggered. I'm not quite sure why I'm not getting... What the heck just happened? Let me make another video. Alright, so the relay I put in apparently got stuck. It wasn't clicking. Now it is. Okay. So, that was my point now, is that I went through all the trouble of extending that orange one, but now this yellow one should technically, yeah, it has power. So that was the thing that was supposed to power. So, man, I didn't have to do that. Well, I mean, the only good thing is I can add an extra light or something like that down the road if I had to, but it would also be on delay. I can just put a little bullet connector here, and you know, it can be connected But the problem is now I'd have to put ignition switch power. I'm just flabbergasted right now. I'm pretty sure I had the ignition key coming down here, and then I don't have it back feeding into this with I use a resistor, and I don't have it back feeding. I'm 99% sure that's how it's supposed to be. So I'll get rid of this. I'll put a bullet connector to be used for future use of some sort, and possibility, I should say, of that. And then I'm going to make this yellow one the power for the thing, and then the other yellow powers it. So the yellow will override it with the key on. No, but you can't do that, because the key being on will never allow it to. I have to put it before that that red wire. And I have a feeling I was supposed to do this differently. What I can do maybe is, the thing is though, it works what I'm doing here. I was supposed to probably add the extra wire that I needed with one of these other wires here. Because this wire is I mean, technically, I would splice it into this. Because this gives power to everything, which is what you want. And then the resistors do what they need to do. So this should do it if I splice it here. And it's definitely a little more doable. And I'm just like, what the fuck was I thinking? So yeah, if I power, because this, it's basically, I want it to work like it would with the key on. So I just don't know. I'm hoping that nothing happens when I power the other side. So this comes from the electronic gizmo right here. This is the power supplying the whole setup. So if I put power, the power here does not power backwards through there. That would be interesting, though. How would I accomplish that? I guess I would just disconnect all the power, and then, this for shit's, I'll do another video with the thing, but because now it's just about fucking dark. So I disconnect the power here, and then I'm wondering if I power this. Oh, look at. Okay, yeah, that makes sense that would power that. Really? See, everything turns on then. Let me see something if I power this guy. Same idea. So with the key on, I don't want it to turn on everything else. I only want it to turn on the solenoid. Because this will turn off. So wait a minute. Yeah, wouldn't I just run a... No, I have to hook it up into here. Fuck. I have to hook it up into there and then put a resistor in there, so so only the electricity only flows one way. God damn it. Oh, just something to add. I would rather have done it tonight, but it's too fucking late now. I'm about dead anyway. But just for shits and giggles, let me make another video without the light on. All right, boom. Yeah, that's not bad. You can see that. It actually looks like in the same vein of green, I must say. So, I like it. It's almost, you still have the purple with the black light and everything in there too. Yeah. I guess that's closer right there. I like it. I like it. Alright, so it's the next day. So what I did is I popped out the pin, which is this, this connection here, and I had another one that locks in place. I added a wire, and this is that what do you call it? The resistor, one-way resistor. So hopefully, if I did this right, when I put power to this wire, okay, none of these lights go on, which is what I expected. So, because this will, but what it will give power to is this yellow wire coming on the other side of the thing. So this is the wire that will break when you hit the brakes, okay, because we're using a 5-pin relay using the center guy. Hang on a second, let me just try to lay this right about there. And if I put power to the one I just made, this wire, so I put power right here. Oops. Hopefully that doesn't touch a ground somewhere and go sparking. But right now this should have power. And it does not. Why is that? Is the ground? Oh, it might not be actually hooked up. All right, take two. We got the power hooked up here. I don't know why I keep doing this candidly. I don't think I have the wrong yellow wire. Oh, I'm not getting power. That's very odd. Does this have power? Oh, haha. It helps if you put the clamp on your test light on the ground. Okay, come on. And now it doesn't want to go on. It's just like seemingly impossible sometimes to do things candidly. It really does. Okay. And there goes the phone. Alright. See, it's lighting up. And right now, this guy should be passing through. Yep. That's the only wire that's on. The lights, the side lights there are not on. Those lights are not on. And ultimately, so that's working. I don't have to power that anymore. And then when I put power to the fuse box here, and of course I got a whole bunch of shit on top of it. So now, see, green light is on, that light is on, and that means it's going through the circuit, but it's not feeding back through here. It will, however, power it this way. So it's like as if the key is on, so that will have power, of course, and so will the yellow wire. But when this is off, it won't have power anymore. And when I put the key on, it'll have power, but it won't backfeed power to all of these lights. That's what I was trying to prevent. And ultimately, I had it right. It's just that at the last minute, I was like, instead of having individual, this was the test one, the test relay I was using, and you see that I had this guy on here, so that's when I was like, oh yeah. So when I use the harness connector there, the black plug, it has its own wires there. I forgot about that piece, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong here? So it's all gonna work out. I never needed to make this because that's why I was like, I'm missing something here, and I'm like, I couldn't remember, but I suppose this could be used for another light if it wanted to be put. Something else had to be put on delay. So I think I will possibly leave this and just leave it as an open source if somebody wanted to add something. So that worked out. I put a because it's hard to crimp this, so I put a flat that'll made into that. So either I'm going to change this end right here, I'm just gonna cover it with heat shrink tubing, but it really doesn't hold super tight. So I shall see. It also might just be because I took it in and out of the plug so many times already that I may have to just crimp that down, and it'll be fine. And then I'll put a piece of heat shrink tubing around it. I'll probably just cut it off. I have enough room, and splice on an insulated thing. I could still cover it, but I definitely wanted this to be separate from it. And like I said, this is the wire coming off of that, and that'll go to the ignition switch, which is right here, the yellow or the red. At this point, because it's all red, I might just leave it like that and make the yellow one. But the yellow one could be red too. With this, it's not that, and I have its own fuse on here since it's coming off the original ignition switch. So I've been busy doing a ton of wiring. I put it all up there nicely. I just got the ignition switch to put back in. And if you try to, so I just put it in park. Right now, this shouldn't be working. And basically I have the door open and that. And then what happened is I tapped off of the power going to the relay. And I didn't realize that I probably shouldn't have it. Not that I shouldn't have it there, but I was putting the key on to see. This would be the key on that powers the solenoid once the doors are closed. And at first I thought it wasn't a big deal, but then I realized that if I power this red wire here with the door open, then it's going to power the. I don't think it'll power the ignition. It'll power the radio, and it'll power the yellow, which it's not this yellow here. That yellow turns into here, which powers. Okay, the yellow powers the radio, and the red powers the solenoid. And I might tap off a couple other things here. I put a relay here because I wanted more power for the reverse lights. I didn't want to just start tapping everything in. And I used the key on here, this blue wire, to turn on this relay, so the power is always available. The problem is that the power is there as soon as the door opens. It becomes part of the circuit here when the door is open. And like I said, radio would go on, which is not. It's actually not unheard of in a lot of newer cars. The radio stays on until you open the door, but that wouldn't be the case here. We're just like, if you had the radio on and you just open a door, like, it wouldn't be officially off. So I got to put another thing here, but I gather it's all good because this power will be going into the radio beforehand. This is not a lot of power, but now I'm a little worried. I mean, I don't know if I can use something that's. I may want to use a resistor that's good for 10 amps, not 3 amps. Now, I did use it here because it's only powering the solenoid, which is no big deal. I'll be putting one in the same circuit for the most part. And the full power, which has its own fuse right here. And there's plenty of juice, obviously, with that big thick wire coming into the thing. It's overkill, in fact. I'm just a little concerned about the red circuit here, because the red circuit, I just don't want it to turn on other things, you know. So I'm probably gonna tap it before this guy here. That's a bummer. It's no big deal though, because I got all this shit. I just have to cut off the zip tie and I can open it up and then figure it out. But to give you an idea, right now, you know, basically this was the plan. The plan was when you open the door, however many seconds, I may adjust it to like 20 seconds now. But when you open the door and you get into the car, this is going to be locked, because now if I put my foot, shut off that light, and then now the 10 seconds will go down when that shuts off, and these green lights shut off. Okay, so now I should be able to move this. See? So my thing was I didn't want the solenoid to be always activated. So when the door is closed and everything is on, it's fine. But as soon as somebody opens the door, boom, you can't put it in gear. And then the next time it'll go off. Well, when you close the door after 20 seconds, it'll also be easy to move. But as soon as you put the key on, it'll be back on again. But like I said, this is where the key goes in. It powers this, but I want the power to go one way. So I'm going to have to put another one of those things. So ultimately, if I just tap, you hear the click, boom. And then that was reverse. And the lights are on. So, and basically, I was originally going to put the original master cylinder was going to be down here, and the switch was going to be down there. So now I just taped it up here, and this will be an access point, because I never know if I don't think I'll have to power the torque converter. It wouldn't really be that switch, but I would use a relay to turn on the opposite. You know, usually it's power all the time, and then when you hit the brakes, it would turn it off. Something along those lines, you know. So not there yet, and I don't think I'm going to need it with 410 gears. You know, you really don't need a torque converter lockup at that point. So yeah, I'm going to have to open up the circuit again like I did today with the other one. I'm just trying to think if it's going to affect anything. I don't think so, because it's going in. See, the whole point was I wasn't trying to power the system. It's very interesting, because I thought that's what I was doing. I have to go back to the video now and see what the hell I was doing, because ultimately I put this power tapped into there to prevent putting on the key. Yeah, I think, yeah, it goes one way. I'm just worried that, I think it's still going in the same direction. I'm just stopping it from going back to the key. It's still going only this way, and it'll come back through here up to this point wherever I tap it in here. I think the 3-amp one will be fine, but I mean, I'm powering it already. It's only the power for that. It's more amperage on this side. Oh, I got to do it obviously on the other side of the. Actually, that shouldn't matter much. I got a 10-amp fuse in here. It's probably not the best thing, but it pretty much is only powering one thing. But then I was wondering if I can do something here with because I have now an extra. This is a whole extra circuit, and I was wondering if I can tap off of this circuit, because this is on all the time. which I don't want for the reverse lights. And I didn't have a key on. There was no more spots for the thing there, so I took it from here because I had an extra spot, and I basically used the same ignition key to turn this on. It's just backfeeding now and turning it on all the time. Like I shouldn't be able to put this, even with hitting the thing, I shouldn't be able to put it in because there shouldn't be power here. But now I'm getting power to this, so that's why it's hooking up. But I don't want power to this guy, which is all in the same circuit in the end. And it was just to turn it on with the key on. I did not realize that it would be backfeeding that line. It's funny how it's not backfeeding the solenoid here. I'm just trying to think, what the fuck was it? What was the purpose? The purpose was when I put the key on, I don't want the lights to turn on. That's the thing. Yeah. So that was the thing, and I'm pretty sure I determined that. So before I put all this stuff in, so I can still test it and whatnot, tomorrow's another day, although I think it's going to rain. I got to wire up another guy there. So I have, like, this is the jump between the small wire here, the sense wire, and the wire coming from that relay over there for the doors, for the dome lights and stuff. It's all incorporated. I got this as the extra circuit that's on time delay. This is the fuse that I say I have to tap into now. This is the starter. It's all wired up right now. I've only tested it so far. And this purple wire here, I forgot, I was going to include it all in one. So I'm just going to piggyback another loop and then just add it on to the cigarette lighter here. There's going to be a cigarette lighter in here as well. Maybe two. Call me crazy. But one is going to have a USB, but I'm not 100% sure. I might just give it a thing and buy a different USB thing, maybe something that just plugs in, But this Corvette guy that I chopped down basically has two cup holders and the cigarette lighter. And then, I can very easily just plug in something that has USB, like I want to make them one with the key on and one without the key on, but it's not looking that way at the moment. Because even if I did with the key on, I mean, technically that little wire that turns on the blue wire that turns on the relay here, I could have tapped into that, which is this little wire here. It looks much fatter there. This guy where I made the tap, that's all I need for a USB. I mean, that wouldn't be a big deal. But, yeah, that would be with the key on. So that wouldn't be terrible to tap from there, but I taped it all up already. So I have a feeling I'm just going to leave said I'll tap into the same thing here to have this one powered down there and this one powered up here. I don't think I'm going to bother, I'm going to have a little USB thing in the trunk with the cigarette lighter, an accessory plug there. And it's just, I'm going a little crazy. This is for the backlighting. There's two lights that go into there. And this thing has the cup holder, which is kind of cool. I don't know what I can do here. And this is for a Corvette. It's not for a Chevy. And I'm not 100% sure it's really super duper going to work, but it kind of looks like it will, but it'll have to depend whether or not I can rise this up a certain amount, because the park reverse neutral, sorry, I'm shining it, but ultimately these cup holders just pretty much kiss right there, but the stick is a little bit, I'd have to see what kind of angle this is at. But seems to be working. I just don't know what I'm doing up there. I got the wires coming in. AC unit's going to be in there also. So I don't know if that means that this is going to go back a little bit. That wire is holding me up right there. And this could have to be at an angle. It all depends, you know. And then I got to make something to go around here to support this and make it look nice. That would be my woodworking skills or metal skills, I guess. Not sure yet. Maybe I'll do it in diamond plate. Not 100% sure. But the wiring is most important to get done. And there is some wiring with those couple of things that I mentioned. These two are the AC clutch and the power for the fans and everything. So I need two circuits. One just turns on the AC clutch. This is going to a relay to turn it on, and then this is a direct fuse. And this is backlighting. It's the same circuit as this right here. It comes from these two red wires. I just made this one yellow because it's yellow in a few places, but over here I want to differentiate which two go to where. So these two are going to go to the thing there. Shut that off. Take this guy off. Take the power off the battery. So it's really getting there, wiring wise. I'm quite impressed. It's been pretty good, I must say. I just don't know yet how this is all going to go. As much as room I thought I had, I probably should have went back. And I just moved the seat back the other day, finally. It wasn't going for me, actually. But the pedals are actually a little bit close. Like, this is closer, and this is still far ahead, but it doesn't, nothing really hits until you go right about there. This is all free play in that booster. And then it starts to go, and you can, like, the free play I got between, it's minuscule. I may have to just turn it 1/2 turn or something like that. And then these are all going to be for the directional signal switch, and I got to put the hazard switch in. It's going to incorporate itself into that. And it's really cooking. I got a lot done in the last 2 days even. And basically it started opening up when I finally got a set of these things here that worked. And this I tell you, this switch was always loose, but the last time I had it in before I took this out, I had taken it out to put this in. I had it in really good, and now it's like I can't really get it in that good. So I really need the proper tool that really turns it. And I swapped it with this one because this one was getting beat up. So it really wasn't beat up that bad, but I think it's a better one than this one I have here. I got to tighten that. But that's why it's turned. It keeps wanting to roll over. So pretty cool. Okay, so I got no power here now, and I have that light on. I put in one of those resistors right here, and when I put power to it, you can hear the revert. But right now, you see how the door open? It's locked. That's exactly the way I would like it. When I take the power off, I can move it. I couldn't even, you can't even press down the button. And then if I take this, put my test light on it, so my test light's powered. And when I do this, that clicks, and it means that I can move the. That's also clicking for the reverse lights. So the reverse lights can work now once that moves, and you can. No, that holds it because you have to hit the brake. So if I hit the brake, I gotta have. Wait, does it work? I don't even know. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I'm using my knee in one hand. It's about to rain. Oh, and also what I did today is I started making this hole. It's not as easy as it looks. And I fucked up a couple of. I grooved into that because I was trying to look at this, and then I didn't realize the machine was coming out. I slipped with the cookie disc, But I'll show you what I bought. I bought a radio that kind of looks like those retro radios that are like $300-400. It's like a derivative of it, but it's obviously not the same. You take off this face, and I didn't want to keep pulling. But I did take off the box here. I'm drilling out these holes. I'm making like an aluminum bracket to go there because at the same time, I got to put this guy in there. And I took the piece that was the radio delete part, and I put it like that. Hang on. So ultimately, that's going to go like that. That's a cute little radio. I don't care what anybody says. It's very similar to the thing, to the knobs that are in the car. And even if it's just slightly 60s, it's still very retro. I like it, And I wasn't going to spend a lot of money. And then I got this little guy here, and there's a lot of stuff going on here that all got to be bolted at the same time. So I keep pondering things back and forth, but I got these two aluminum brackets because, there's not much strength to this radio. It's very light, but I also got to end up hanging the AC unit because it's got to go pretty much right underneath it. So this is the one with the weight, and of course you got a thing there in the back, and you got a thing there in the back of that. I have a nut that I made, a hole, something to hold through the firewall, and hopefully that works, and it's not a huge deal. And this, though, like this one is back further than this one. And I don't know if that's by design or what, but I think it was originally supposed to be made for a Corvette. Like this is a remake of a 60s Corvette one. So that the dashboard starts to curve. So that's why I think they did it. But they tell you it's like a universal application. They show it inside of a Corvette, from like 62 or something like that. Or probably 59, who knows. So everything's going pretty good. Like everything else on this car, it's challenged me the whole way, but I always find something to make it work. The only problem is like I'm not quite. I keep playing with this. I bought a large thing of this with the holes in it because I have to drill up into the body this way, because I figure the holes, and I can maybe just tack weld it, and I forgot I ran out of welding stuff. But I'm not sure I want to weld it. I may just bolt it. I don't know yet. But if I put aluminum brackets on the side there, it builds it out. But it still needs more. Then I got to make another one. But then I'm not going to really have if this is on the outside, I'm not going to really have access to those bolts. It's going to be much harder to do. So I'm thinking, I don't know if I can get 1.1/8 C channel, but I'd have to put it C channel from the inside out, which doesn't make this as good, just picture if this was, because the C channel there, I can bolt through the top there, I can hack out the bottom there or go through that hole to mount it somehow, depending on what I find. But I mean, whatever I buy is probably not going to have, it's probably not going to have holes in it, where I'm going to go tomorrow, metal place. So if I had the C channel, I can get at that bolt, and the C channel gets me closer, and then I have to make, because the C channel will also go to the top here, and then it'll also, I can somehow bolt it to this. I may have to put spacers, but I'll be able to do it. So that's what I'm thinking. And it's contemplating aluminum because it's rigid, but I don't know, as long as I have 1.1/8, and I don't know if I can do that with C channel. I don't know if I have to buy a square and then cut a side off, which I really don't want to do because I'm never going to make it right. Yeah, and then there's the thing in the back there, which I'm going to try to incorporate both of them onto the same thing on the firewall. But I got to make it so that this can be removed, and then that can be removed. I didn't want to put these hanging on that. I wanted these to be concentrated on the body of the car, so that this would be removed, and that's still sitting there. Thing is, then this is going to be bolted on, so it's just kind of hanging out in the front. There's really nothing to mount it to, other than that one thing that they give you in the back. I'm like, how the hell does it hold to the dashboard? So with these aluminum brackets, I don't know if I can incorporate that C channel, and probably can, to make that work. and hold the weight. It's very light, that radio, so that's a good thing. But I just didn't want this to hang off that and then hang off the car, you know. It's kind of all together, but I wanted it to come out one thing at a time because it's got to be assembled and disassembled. So that's what I've been up at all day long today. So I got a bunch to do. It's been thundering. I think it's going to rain, downpour soon. And then once I get the bolts on with those things, I can button up that thing to prevent dust from getting inside it. And I even forgot what size thing this is supposed to be. Of course. Oh my God. Is it left-hand thread? Always something. I always forget what size this shit is. It's like I've been welding like crazy, but I haven't welded enough that I change this that often. It's either 30 or 33 or 31. But if you get one size, it's not flux. Right now I can only use flux because, yeah, 30. Yeah, gasless flux cord wire. 30 thousandths. So that's what I got to get. And, yeah, this came out nice. And, you know, ultimately it looks good in the car, you know. I got a lot of metal filings all over the place. It made a huge fucking mess. I was doing my best to try to keep it at bay. But I had a garbage bag out here. I think it blew away. Oh, yeah. It went down there. Oh, well. What else? Yeah, so a lot of the wiring is pretty good, darn good. I just got to put in the ignition switch. Obviously, that's got to be done before this whole thing comes, but I wanted to figure this all out. A little bit of that covers up this, but I got some problems here, unfortunately, and I'm not changing it. That's what she's gonna get for now. I mean, I was blowing this out with air, and it was taking out the burlap that was left. But it's gonna, I think it's gonna look pretty good, you know. I don't know if I can use these holes that somehow are here. I guess the original radio, when you put both of the radio in, it would utilize those holes. So that would be interesting to use that as well, and that'll help. But the radio delete doesn't really have a spot for it. But all I have to do is kind of drill a hole and put a nut in the bolt. I'm not quite sure how exactly I'm going to do it because it's close to the ignition switch here too, and it does not seem like it would be, you know. I gather it was threaded on the inside. What a project to do a regular radio even, but I guess he did it once and that was it. He had to take out the ignition switch, which is not that big of a deal. But I am super happy with the wiring. Pretty much accomplished everything I want to accomplish. I do need to run another, because I forgot to do it for the cigarette lighter, which reminds me I got to buy a cigarette lighter. And yeah, we're cooking here. The only thing that's going to be left is that, but I got to put all this shit back together. I got to fix the steering box area, which I don't know how I'm doing that either until I do it. I got tires ordered. So everything's kind of rolling along and coming to a head here at the end, and not too bad, I want to say. Looking really nice, but a tad big looking. I hope this is going to work. Into my car they go. It's too hard to tell because this is such a small tire that somebody put on the back here. But you know, when all is said and done, a little hard to see, and I kind of got the sun in my eyes and whatnot. But the front here, it's not really that much different, to be honest. You know, trying to see the end of the tire. If I line it up to the end here, Yeah, I mean, it's sticking out like an inch more. But this is fully inflated. It doesn't have the you know, it's just no pressure on it at all. And I think it's going to have a nice look. Because without it, this is the original size tire, but it's like 640-15. They're very skinny. That's the only other thing is the width. That's another factor, you know. But like in the rear, it seems like there's a lot more room. My only problem I had with other cars is trying to get the tire actually up inside the car. And it doesn't have removable wheel wells, so it's like, but your wheel well still goes way up. So there's still a lot of the tire past the hub here when you're getting the thing off. So you have to hope that the tire fits on an angle in between here. So that's always something. So I'd rather do the rears first in a certain sense, but definitely a bigger tire. And you just wonder how much room they really had for it, you know. But look at those cracks. I don't know if you can see them on camera. I can't really. I see them in person. I'm surprised this tire is even holding air because it was completely flat one day. And then I just pushed the car on this side and then it held the air because it found the spot that it was able to hold the air. The other side. Big crack there all along the whole edge. It's jacked up. I fit it in the rear and it fits in no problem. This car the rear end goes way down, which is great. It makes plenty of room. It filled up the area nice. This is the original tire, so when it's literally 2 inches tall. And it looks like it's big, but this is the original tire from the trunk, the spare, which is similar to this guy right here. That was a tire that came off, and man, that thing is wide. I had a hard time getting it off, really hard. It's not meant for that kind of a wide tire. Believe it or not, even though mine looks like it's wider, this one is probably just as wide, if not wider. So that's wild stuff. But I just try to turn the wheel. I got a problem with the steering box. I got to make it. I can't check all the way, but it really does. It looks like it has the same angle, looking straight down from here. So when you turn it all the way to the right, I mean, I don't think I'll have to trim the chassis here, but you know, it's the same angle on this and this up here. It's not off. It's not that much different. It's a little bit more sticking out here, so that could be trimmed if it really had to be. But I just, when I put my hand here, it's all the same distance. So if a smaller tire fit here, a larger one might just start hitting this. But don't forget, it's 2 inches taller, but that means it's only an inch on either side. So it is wider though. This is a wider tire than the original, so it may get close because in the end, the tread is only, you know, up here. It's a very tiny tread, you know, whereas this tread is like 2 inches wider as well, you know, which is better for driving, but it's not better for trying to fit it onto an old car like this, you know. So I did one. I have to balance it still. I just wanted to put it on the car to make sure it's doable. So it's definitely doable. I gather I can lower it down. It's so funny that I got a jack stand over here holding the back of the car, and I had a jack stand holding this side. Then I started jacking up this side, and then the whole car came up. So that's pretty crazy. And that means the car was built kind of smart, I guess. You know, it was built sturdy. You know, I just can't turn the wheel all the way. I can't physically turn the wheel because with what I'm doing here, I had to take all this apart again to get that all back together and whatnot. So once I do that, I should, once I figure out what the steering box is, I should be no problem. Like I said, there's rubber stuff here for this access hole, which goes to the bolts for the steering box, which is, I think, is what's giving me all the problems, and I have to redo the part of the chassis here. I got to drill out whatever's in here because it's very weak, because I winged these down and they started bending, and it needs to be tight. So because I have it in two pieces now, you know, the steering box was originally 3 bolts holding it, and then the steering column bolts, but because there's a joint now in between it, and the joint is over here, it kind of wants to wander, and it forces the bolts out of position. See, this is a joint here. That's why this can flex like this. Not that it's going to flex normally. This is going to be bolted in, but it's apparently not enough. If anything, if this was all solid, it may have not moved, but that gave a lot of problems for trying to install it. So it needs to be able to be installed. It needs that joint, but if the steering box is secure, then it'll go where I need it to go. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But it's off the jack stand. It's fucking. I don't know if it's just there's something with this front end is weird. Probably, you know, it doesn't. When you jack it up, it like doesn't. It doesn't necessarily, you know, it like lockjaws the control arms. The control arms might have wear on them, might have bushing issues and whatnot. But as soon as I put this jack stand here in the middle of the car, it kind of became an issue. So now this is going to be jacked up, and then I'll get the tire on. I got to balance it first. It's going to work, and it definitely looks like everything's going to be doable here. I like it. I like a bigger tire on this car because the car. It's funny how I call this car a small car because it feels light, but it's big in another sense. It was funny. I got my car here. My door looks so tiny when I go to this fucking thing. It's tall, kind of like an S10 Blazer, you know. So it's like a truck, you know. And it's probably not far off from it, you know, from the other Studebaker models that were bigger. So I like it. Let me just see something. I take this guy out and kind of lower this back down to ride height. This front end is very stiff, and but I really feel it's more so of the shocks with the car somewhere. But I have a feeling when you drive it, it'll find its center and work its way out. It's got to turn the wheel a couple of times. When you jack it up and lower it down, it may not fall into place, and that just might be just the inherent design of the car. But it's not going to be an issue with the tire, at least top to bottom, and definitely not in the fender well. The only thing is like on the front portion, turning all the way to one side. On the back portion here, like I said, the only thing I possibly see as an issue is this rubber shit that's here, and all I have to do is like support it in a better place or another place, and I don't think it's going to be an issue, you know. But I got to straighten that out right in the beginning if it's going to be an issue, because you'll chop up the new tires, you know, you'll get them all rubbed out on the inside. Last video, I was scared that it wasn't going to fit, so I put it on first before I balanced it. Now, when I balanced it and I put it on speed balancing, which is balancing on both sides, which really works well, it was like over 3. And the old weights on here was this was static balanced unless they fell off the front, and this was 250 and this was 50, and they were not far apart from each other, so it kind of made sense. A lot of these old cars, that's what they were, and they bubble balanced it, which is really just like static balancing. So I can change this now to regular speed balancing as 2 arrows. So, and you will see now that I put it back on, it'll probably be the same thing. Shouldn't matter if it's so now this is set to grams. Unfortunately, I don't know how to. I bought this thing, and I gotta ask Google how many grams is what. Now that is only 25 grams. That made a difference somehow. That's 80 grams. So 80 grams is something like. That's the 3. Okay, yeah, that's right. Because one side was kind of normal the weight, and then the other side was like ridiculous. That being said, I might just do the speed balancing anyway. Some people don't want to see them, and it does. This car does not have beauty rings, but I really feel it's superior. This is going to be a rear tire, and maybe that's why this particular one ended up in the rear. But I'm going to go play with it. I'm going to see how if it can like balance on one try, it's not so bad. But if it can't, it's like you know, I don't want to do that then. Balancing, at least I didn't have to lay out the money for this fucker because I just reused it. And I did it twice, and the thing is, it kept putting the weight on top of the same spot. So like this was 25, I had this plus a 25, and then it said to put a 50. So I took the 25 off and put a 75. And the same thing goes on this side, where the first time was a 75, and then the second time, I mean, I could have put a 125 in the end, but you know, because it's spaced out, I have to let the scale do it. It's basically a scale this thing to figure out what it needs to figure out. So on the second run, I took off the 25 and put the 50 instead, and boom, we got 0. So that's the way you do it, and it's speed balanced. It's much better, and I love these hand balance. The hand spun balance better than anything. Only problem is mine is in grams. That's the only bad thing, that I bought it off a Spanish guy who barely spoke English, and I didn't realize it. My feeling is that there's probably something out there that either I got to start buying new, because I believe there are new balance weights that are, you know, they coincide with grams now. But I have a feeling that you can hit a button on this. It's got to be, you know, how can they sell 2 different ones? It has to be a setting. And I was trying to look for it one time and I gave up, but I'm going to try again one day. Maybe AI knows something. I don't know. We'll see. Tell me you're old without telling me you're old. That's a tube there, Sonny. Oh my God. That's old. Made in USA. When's the last time you've seen that tire inside out? Is that the year? 4/26/2004. I guess it's not as old as I thought, but it's still pretty fucking old. Maybe they changed the you know, the tube, but not the tire. That's hilarious. It really is. This surely looks older than 2004 by a long shot. Made in USA. Unless it's Coker. No, it's Firestone. I don't know. They make those reproduction tires pretty close, you know. So sometimes you think, oh, I should have put the reproduction tires on. But it's like, you know, the $300, $400 a piece now. $200 a tire was the norm not even that long ago. You know, 6, 7 years ago. And now it's like insane, the prices of everything. By the way, if you don't have an angle grinder, get one. And if you don't have a wire wheel, get one. I mean, get the tire machine first, but this is what I do. I spin the thing around and I do that. I'm going to take off these weights. I don't know what I'm hitting. And when you're in a cramped garage, things fall into place. And of course, if you don't put the thing back on, yeah, then it makes all kinds of noises when something's hitting. So I got to find the old school ones, like, because those tires were done. The back ones have a new thing. It was completely new. It was totally nice and moist. There was no problem. The tires look great, but they were fucking wide. You know, the 70s really don't do well with this tire. I couldn't. It was a hard time getting them off. So I got to find these guys. I'm pretty sure I have them. Y-wheel that too. Why not? Inside there. So I found my valves. They are longer. I should have looked at that first. Like to make it consistent, but the other ones are new. It's not really worth wasting it, but that's the way you do that. And now it went from tubeless to, it went from tubed to tubeless, just like that. So I did 2 tires on the driver's side. Obviously, I did it speed bound, so there's weights on both sides, and they were pretty far out of balance. The trunk tire was bent on the inside a little bit, and I only static balanced it because it wanted 4 ounces of weights on one side and 2 ounces on the other side. It's really just a spare. So this one here, you see how this has this? The spare does not have that. But right now the spare tire looks better than this one because I just went through all the trouble of putting the tire on. Don't look at the tire so much as the rim. Okay, I'm going to do it again on this side. That's pretty far out. And the other thing that was concerning for me is that somebody had these fucking things way the fuck over tightened. The guy who balanced those newer tires, and you can see that's an oval, you know, and that's an oval.
I mean, it was holding, but it looked like it was bent up in the center. So when it's bent up in the center, it moves a lot on the outside. It's pretty much, this is really not good for this. To be 1,000% honest, somebody fucking tightened it, and I had trouble getting the lugs off on the other side because it's left-hand thread. So they did something, but that one was at least, okay. This is not good. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to static balance this one too. I'm going to take these parts out here. Hopefully I get them out, and then I'll put them in the other rim that's a spare and make the spare on the rear of the car, and then use this as a spare. It was holding. It wasn't going to go anywhere, but it's pretty warped. I can't find any online, so I'm going to have to use what we got. The other one is not bent on this face. It's a little bit wobbly on this side, but it's minor. And but it was going to take a lot of weight, so that's why I static balance it, which is weights only on the inside. And I'm going to do the same thing with this, and but put this in the trunk instead. So I just took the 3 out. This is the one that was really bent up and elongated holes. This is the spare. I put them in, and you can tell that one's a little bit messed up, but this is the only one that's really bad. The rest of them seem like okay, but it's not great, to be honest. Probably part of the reason why it's bent, but it's not bent on this. It's bent on the outside, which is, it's not terrible. You can pretty much fix it, but with a rim guy. But this one here, I can see that whatever they did, they had it on crooked or something, and you can literally see that this is curved here, and this is out around. You can almost feel it right here, So that will be the spare for now, and this will be put on the car. But it'll be in the rear, so it's better. But it is what it is. So the other trick in the future, as you can see, this one here is a little bit funky, like half in, half out kind of thing. The rest of them seated in okay. This guy is a little bit, like I said, it was really the one that was really bad. But you can also, the trick is also to get, and this is right-hand thread on the passenger side. The other side is left-hand thread, so I don't know what's available for that. But I know you can always get an acorn nut that has the 13/16 bigger size nut with this type of thread. No matter what the thread, you usually can go up a step, So that makes the head of it wider, and that'll help the cause. But then you have a different size here, and then all the way over there. You have to change everything then. So that's just something that can be done eventually. What's completely wild is that I was putting in the other tire. When I put the other tire in, I put it in left. I couldn't get it in the normal way, and so I flipped it over. I kind of got it in, but there's still like a space. I swear the other one hit the bottom, so I think that because it's bent, it's squishing the tire, and it's bulging out. There might be a spot, if I keep rotating it, that might fit in, but that's wild. I could swear I had it in there. I thought it went right in. That's so fucked up. Okay, after rotating it, I got it in. I put these bolts here to hold the gas tank, and that's normal, but the tire is wider than the car should be, it was meant for, so unless I start hammering on the edges or something like that, but it's fine. It actually holds it in tighter now that I got it all the way in, so it's not like going anywhere either. So, oh my God, that is something. And man, these brakes are tiny, very tiny. They look like no bigger than 9, and I don't think it is 9. I can't get close enough. I don't have my glasses with me, and I can't see the screen. $31. That's not the numbers I'm looking for. It used to be pretty clear. I'm not sure it's that clear. It looks no bigger than 9. That's what I'm saying. Like GM's like 9.5. This might be 9. Maybe it's only 8.5. I don't know. But looks. I would have to say 9. What's this writing up here? Kelsey Hayes. Kelsey. Oh, Canada. That's interesting. 33735. Interesting. Looks like the drum falls behind here. So you can picture somebody making a rotor combination that would work on here. And this is very flat too, so it's like you could technically throw a rotor on top of that. You might need longer studs, maybe not. But definitely should be part of an upgrade. It'll have the brakes to hold it. So, but I thought the car stopped pretty damn well. So, like I said, all the brake hoses were done. I'm assuming the brakes were done then, because nobody ever does the hoses. I got to do the lines all over though. Between doing everything I'm doing, it'll be better, because I got to reroute them and whatnot from where they were. So I just cut them anyway, and then I gotta get these out because they don't look like they were changed, but the brakes and the hoses were, as far as I can tell. So regular valve, no tube in this one. So the other tire, see the big crack. The other tire had the tube because it was probably leaking a long time ago. I worked for a short time on my car, but I mean, I think I got here like 11:30, and it's 4:30, I think, or 4:50. I don't know. It took a long time to do these tires. It's very hot, and I kept running into problems and whatnot, and the path to wheel a tire over there and wheel the other one back, and the mess I have back there. But